Rousing, creative, funny, powerful. These are the qualities I don't see in Mulan. Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and the live-action Disney remakes aren't going anywhere soon. But if you followed my channel for some time, you know that I'm not fundamentally against them, and I even liked quite a few. Unfortunately, Mulan isn't one of them. The film was directed by Niki, Caro and is of course the reimagination of the beloved 1998 original animated movie. Let me first say that I saw the original for the first time just 2 months ago, and neither do I have a special nostalgic connection to it, nor do I think it's one of Disney's best works. It's a decent adventure musical with a good, empowering message. When it comes to the remake, there are a few changes. The biggest one, of course, stripping away all the songs, as well as the comedic sidekick character of Mushu, who was voiced by Eddie Murphy. Another significant change is the addition of a second villain, the mysterious witch Xian Lang, played by Li Gong. It's a nice addition because it adds to the main theme of female empowerment or the lack of equality, which leads to her being this ruthless sorceress, while Mulan, played by Yifei Liu, chooses to be good and show everybody that she can fight just as good or even better than any man. And this is of course at the heart of Mulan's story. But this tale of empowerment is almost the only thing that characterizes the movie, and of course it's an important message, but when it's this front and center, it's hard for me to really be captivated by it if the rest doesn't live up to it. And unfortunately it doesn't. The live action version of Mulan is a rather lifeless and, quite honestly, overtly bland affair. It feels stale from the beginning, no matter how beautiful some of the location shots are. And there's barely a spark of creativity to be found anywhere. It's also way harder to buy into it because even though Mulan tries to hide it, she simply does look and sound like a woman. In an animated movie or a comedy, something like this is much easier to accept, but in a somewhat serious film like this, it's a bit off-putting. There's still humor, and almost all of it stems from people saying stuff like making someone a man and so on. It's almost the same lines as in the original, but in the animated context it worked a lot better. Here it only underlines once again that it's all about equality, and it's a bit tiresome. Of all their animated movies, Mulan has been one of the more mature ones. The strong message at its core, the war setting, which led to the logically decision to make the live-action version more in the vein of an epic war action adventure, therefore also minus the songs and the talking dragon comic relief. And of all the live-action remakes, Mulan is the first one with a PG-13 rating. But it's a long way from being a rousing war epic. From the screenplay to the direction, camera work and so on, it always feels as if it's just going through the motions, just hitting the familiar story beats. And those story beats are nothing to get excited about. When you strip away the big empowerment theme, it's an extremely generic war story, and because it's somewhat serious, it felt all the more problematic. You basically just get this big villain who wants revenge for the death of his father. He's threatening the emperor and his dynasty, so it's time for war. That's basically it, and nothing is questioned about that. The Emperor, played by none other than Jet Li, calls for arms. Everyone has to follow, because this is still a historical piece, and then it's the good guys versus the bad guys. Only that I almost rooted more for the bad, because they were at least a little bit charismatic. The casting in general is one of the positives of the film. I mean, obviously it's awesome to see Donnie Yen in something like this. But him, Jet Li, Jason Scott Lee and basically everybody involved seem to be pretty wasted, because when it comes to the film's action and fighting, it's once again very stale. I was very happy that they decided not to go full realism, but instead go with the Chinese tradition of wuxia, larger than life martial arts, where it's perfectly fine that people are able to run up walls or almost fly with the power of their chi. But the way Mulan is filmed and edited doesn't allow to spark much fire. Almost all of it comes down to very generic fighting choreography, totally cut in many little shots without any great idea of doing something different or exciting. It's really underwhelming. The only thing of notice is when they flip the camera in a 90-degree angle to follow someone's movement. And like I said before, some of the locations and sets are pretty spectacular, but They are always alternating with a lot of shots that look rather cheap and fake, which again adds to the film's overall lifelessness. And the character stuff, their relationships and emotions, it doesn't save the movie because that too is extremely by the numbers. Pretty much all dialogue only centers on the equality issue, and there seems to be no room for real human drama. Now, I don't think Mulan is a terrible film, it's just extremely mediocre. It never caught on to me and I felt quite bored. Of course, I'm also not really the target demographic, but that's an argument that I don't like that much. There definitely was some potential there and I would have loved to see a big, spectacular wuxia action adventure. But this wasn't it. So in German I'd say, kurz und knapp, Mulan ist leider eine sehr unambitionierte, leblose Angelegenheit. Der Cast ist toll, kann mit dem Material und bei der 0815 Umsetzung aber auch nicht viel machen. Eine gute Botschaft alleine reicht nun mal nicht aus. I give the original Mulan 7 out of 10. This one is just a 5. It's more like 5.4. But I don't do that. We haven't done this in a while, but I haven't forgotten about it. Whenever a movie scores less than 6, I give you 3 better flicks. My first pick is Wonder Woman, because it's not just an empowering superhero movie, but also a great, dramatic and powerful war film. If you're into martial arts, want to see what Donnie Yen can do and never watched Ip Man before, go check it out. And last but not least, the funniest gender disguise comedy ever made, Billy Wilder's Some Like It Hot. Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Mulan. And also let me know, are you a fan of the original animated movie and how is the new one in comparison for you? You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd simply at TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.